Good afternoon, folks. Welcome into episode number 40 of Clark After Dark. Right here, live and direct from the Texarkana area as we get ready to kick off this weekend's, I believe it's the 11th annual Mike Parker Memorial at Texarkana 67 Speedway. And the driver who's won 3 of those races, and he won it last year, the defending Mike Parker Memorial champion of Dalton Faulkner out of Cut and Shoot, Texas, is going to join us here in just a little bit time. Of course, you got the Texas Outlaw Modified Series, the Touring Outlaw Modified Series, formerly known as the Texas Outlaw Modified Series. The Tom Series will be at Rocket Raceway Park on Friday night. Saturday night, they'll be over at the Arklatex Speedway in Vivian, Louisiana. Of course, you got an IMCA stock car special taking place at KSP. But I would imagine on the RaceON platform, and for all those that, watch racing around the Arklatex, the marquee event on the weekend. And of course, I hope all these other racetracks have great events, have great turnouts in the fans as well as in the pits. But I would imagine that the marquee events this weekend, no, it's not just because I happen to be calling the race or anything. The Mike Parker Memorial has always meant a ton to me. It's a great event in honor of a great man who we miss dearly. Justin Whitehead puts a lot into the race. Without further ado, because I'm going to get so far off track, I'm going to forget to bring in my co-host tonight. Here's my co-host, Alexandria, Louisiana's Cortland Smith, baby. Cortland, how you doing tonight, big dog?
Man, we're LIVIN and bud. We're living. The weather looks good for this weekend. Looks like a lot of good races are going to happen. Everybody should be excited. Absolutely,
man. I kind of stopped what I was talking about there to bring you in because I didn't want to go any further because you needed to be a part of the conversation. Man, this Mike Parker Memorial is really it's become a race. Obviously, Justin parks the steering wheel. He puts the promoter cap on each year. This race originally started at Timberline Speedway. It was held at Boot Hill for a year. It's been held at Arklatex, and now it's held at Justin's home track at Texarkana 67 Speedway. It's where it was held at last year. And, man, the race was phenomenal last year, right? Dalton Faulkner got the win to the factory stocks over Chris Hennigan, and it was a really, really damn good race. So I'm looking forward to that, obviously, with all the new improvements as well to 67, man. Should be a banger this weekend over at Tim Crawley's place to race.
BANGER, bud. Banger Inbound is all I got to say. Tim Crawley's got that place on point the last couple of weeks, and I'm sure I love Tim Crawley's Facebook Lives. If you don't, then you need to watch them because he said it's hot, and the track's tight, boys. So I know he may be expecting a little rain shower or two, but I guarantee he's got it ready for this weekend. And man, what an exciting event, the Mike Parker Memorial. Of course, it originated kind of as the factory stock 50, then evolved to this after we lost Mike there. But man, what an event! 10,000 win factory stocks in the 10,000 win stock car class where we get to see stock cars do stock car things, as some of the great people up north would say. Man, just what an exciting weekend we have coming up at 67.
Yeah, it should be a ton of fun. Of course, tonight, I always hit everything that's going on in dirt track racing. USMTS is at Casino Speedway in Watertown, South Dakota tonight on a Tuesday night. Of course, our podcast is released on Wednesday, so by the time you hear this, we'll already know who the winner is, and who knows who it's going to be. I watched a couple of the heat races. Pretty interesting little racetrack there. The UMP Summer Nationals Hill Tour. We'll talk about that once we let our guest off of the line here in just a little bit. We'll talk about what's been going on the Hill Tour over the last week, Cortland. Hey, man, the last few weeks I started this podcast off, dude. I tell you every time, like, you're just as big as a part of this Clark After Dark podcast. I know my name's on it, but I love having you a part of it week in and week out, man. And I love the Cort's Corner segment that we debuted here about a month or so ago. But this week, we're going to throw Cort's Corners live and direct up first, so we don't forget about my boy Cortland Smith tonight. Cortland, hit us with Cort's Corners here tonight on Clark After Dark.
Cort's Corners on June 17th, my man. First things first, Parker Cloud wins 3,000 at the Rev and street stock action, dominated it pretty much. He had a battle there with Travis Marsh. Caution comes out. Parker still drives away, wins the race. I-37 Speedway, man, I talked about it last week. Wednesday night racing, you got to love it. You got to love people willing to put their neck out there and do that down here. So Johnny Torres wins the limited. Ryder Egbert gets his first factory stock dub, and Logan Dinsmore. Ooh, that was tough to say for some reason. Number 8 car absolutely obliterated the field in the mods. I-37 a little more traction up than normal, but everybody fought weather last weekend, so it was just part of it, man. Glad to see them willing to run on a Wednesday night. I know they didn't necessarily have the car turnout they wanted, but it's one of them deals that you get in racing. Next thing up on Cort's Corners, Colby Smith and Shane Hartline. I've talked about Toms once before, man. The Tom series is really, really cool. We get to see them this weekend in our backyard at the Arklatex. But Colby Smith and Shane Hartline absolutely put on a show throughout lap traffic. Colby Smith took the lead on the outside over Hartline, and he got elbows up around the top of Southern Oklahoma Speedway last weekend and got the job done. Good run out of Colby Smith. And last but not least, we already hopped on it again, but man, do not undersell this Mike Parker Memorial this weekend, man. Two divisions of classes are running for $10,000 to win. Like that is really, really something special that we need to really no, we don't need to undersell it. I know we talk about big money shows all the time, but man, we have two 10,000 win races happening in our backyard. Get out there, support another. There's a lot of other racetracks racing. Go support a local racetrack this weekend. But if you can make it to 67, you got to make it, man. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You got to be there. That's Cort's Corners for this week. Thank you for putting me up front, Zach. I appreciate it. I felt you remembered me this week. I feel special.
I didn't even put it in my notes. I just knew we had to get you live and direct. I told you last week, like, we're not going to forget about you anymore. It's a big part of this deal, man. Happy to do that, man. Hey, great notes too. I mean, look, you have to go through the time. I mean, I know you love racing as much as I do, but I mean, you know, you take time to pull up each and every one of these tracks and find something to highlight throughout the night that you can find to talk about. So, you know, I know it takes a little bit of time too. So I appreciate your dedication in that regard, man, because, you know, like a couple of weeks ago, right, I think you told me that, the screen printing gentleman, Broussard, you know, down there, you mentioned Brent, and you said, and you had told me, you know, just off mic that Brent had reached out and said it was pretty cool. And, you know, obviously you had no idea that Brent was actually listening to the podcast, and which that kind of spun the wheels for us to say, okay, maybe this is something we need to do every week, because obviously you didn't shout him out intentionally, but I think it was pretty cool that he heard his name indirectly, you know, and I think that's what it's about here, man. Like, we want to be a platform where we can talk about racers and their accomplishments and different things. And look, we may not single you out particularly and talk about you, but I mean, you never know. You might just get called out on Clark After Dark at any point in time, and you don't know when it's going to be, but that's why you got to listen every single week. Okay.
I've had several people ask me, how do I get on that Cort's Corners? I said, man, I ain't gonna lie. If I go back and that replay's longer than 5 hours, I'm probably not gonna sit there and watch most of it, because I do watch all the races I talk about. I go through and I take the time to at least watch the features. I may miss the heats, but I go back and watch most of the features. But if that stream's longer than 6 hours, tell your track, get a better program going, because I probably ain't watching it.
Well, I hear you. There ain't no doubt.
It is what it is. Hey, only got so much time, Biggin.
I'd give them the Bill Belichick treatment. I'd just tell them to do your job.
Do your job.
And you might get talked about eventually. You just do your job and you do it well, you'll get talked about. Hey, man, without further ado, it's time to bring on the man of the hour. This man, he's 31 years of age now. Damn, you brought him up too quick, man. My producer's too good. He brought him up too quick. We had to kind of sell the suspense just a little bit. But there he is. That's the mayor of Cut and Shoot, Texas. It's Dalton Faulkner. Dalton, what's going on tonight, man? This is Clark After Dark. Well, we got Dalton After Dark too, buddy. It's getting a little dark over there where you're at. Where are you at right now?
Man, we're over in Clean, Texas, over here working. So we're sitting in the truck right now, so hanging out with y'all right this second.
Dalton, if you don't mind me, what do you do throughout the week? I think a lot of people just think that you just race a lot of factory stocks and win a lot of big money, and you just race factory stocks for a living. What do you do daily?
Man, I'd love to race for a living, but no, I do HVAC for a living. I do change outs on residential homes, and then I do jumped into a little bit of commercial work here now. So here we are working, night shift.
Man, you're a 3-time Mike Parker Memorial winner. We're closing on that race again this week, and you're the current RaceOn.com All-Star Challenge points leader. You have 76 wins since the start of the 2020 season. You have 8 wins this year, but you only have 15 A-feature starts. I was kind of looking over your, the last several years in my race pass before we had you on tonight, Dalton. We know you win a lot of races. Am I right about this? It seems like maybe this season, and maybe it's the rainouts, and it would appear that you have less starts at this point of the season compared to recent years. But it seems like you're racing a lot less this year. Am I right about that?
Man, I think we've had quite a few rainouts. Is the reason I haven't hit every weekend. I pretty much chase anywhere that the most cars are going to be. It's not always pretty much where the most cars are going to be is where they're paying the most, of course. So, man, I haven't been stepping out a whole lot. I haven't been to Waco. I haven't been to Rocket and so forth this year. So we've been working and then racing every weekend we can that it don't rain. So and then we've focused a lot on the big shows this year. This year's a very good paying year, so of course I'm gonna focus on the All-Star race, for the points. I usually don't do much points racing, so I did kind of set myself in stone. We need to focus on them 11 races, so that might be interrupting some of my weekly racing, chasing just a track that's open.
Dalton, I got to ask you, we used to race back in the day. We used to throw elbows at old Sabine Speedway. We raced together. I didn't get to beat you very often, but did you ever expect when you first started this factory stock deal, did you ever think you'd become that guy? And what I mean by that, guy, is when you roll in anytime, anywhere, no matter where you show up, we know we have to outrun the 27 car. Did you ever expect you'd get to that level?
Man, it's that's something I kind of strive for. That's something I do work for. It's not the point of having a big head or thinking I'm somebody special, but I race my hometown tracks whenever I, racing with my dad. We used to have 4 or 5 local tracks, and we raced around the local tracks, and we were very competitive. I raced, went over there, chased pretty much the same thing I did when I come to the factory stock class. I chased the fastest cars. I wanted to be where they were at that weekend. So we've always liked to show up with some, pride, knowing that we had a car to win. And then, of course, whenever I stepped in the factory stock class, we still had Gator Motorplex down here and Battleground and Beaumont, which they all shut down within within, I think 3 years, apart, if I'm correct. So
Mhm.
we still had the factory stock, and I was wanting to chase the bigger shows. Always wanted to race the King of the Hill, and that's, then we started chasing Justin Whitehead. So I guess if you're gonna chase Justin Whitehead, it's you're gonna be somebody. That man's won more races than anybody I can name in the factory stock, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna hold that for a while.
Man, you brought it up and you mentioned it perfectly. I was going to bring this as a perfect segue. I think it was 2017, Dalton, if I recall, and you came to Timberline Speedway. And like I've talked about this right over the broadcast over the years, just trying to get the race fans to be a little bit more familiar with you as you started to burst onto the scene. When you came over here, I think you ran Timberline. You came to the Factory Stock 50 in 2017, and I've told this story, right? Kamo told me, man, you better keep your eyes on that Dalton Faulkner, man. He's pretty good. Like when Kenneth tells me something, like I take it, I don't just take it with a grain of salt. So I was like, okay. And I don't think that first year, like you just didn't knock anybody's arms off, right? But I think it didn't take but a short period of time. Like, what do you remember about that? That period of time when you first started setting out to go travel. I mean, do you remember that period of time whenever you set out? And I mean, do you have it in your mind like, okay, I'm about to go out here and I'm about to beat the Justin Whiteheads and I'm going to beat the Brian Mewborns and the Chris Hennigans and this, that, and all these guys?
Oh, that was our plan. Is my old man told me we couldn't go out there and hang out with the guys that had the money. The guys that been doing this for this long. So actually, that's the first year I ever built my own car. So I had a point to prove. When I built my own car, I had Dennis Knowles at the time building my motors. So me and him, we wanted to go out there and be somebody. So, man, 2017 was the year I started traveling. It was the first Cajun Classic I ran. That's really what kicked me off was 2017 Cajun Classic. My first time ever showing up to that one. We made the show. Timberline, I think I come over there and run third, ran second behind Justin the whole race, and then I think oh, I can't. I think Hamilton. Hamilton passed me with a couple laps to go. I remember
Eisenberg.
Timberline. It's the only time I ever got to. Yeah, that's the only time I ever got to race Timberline. But 2017 year was the year I got to travel, and man, that's the what set it off, and that's why I still do it today, man. I enjoyed it a lot.
Are you ever satisfied? Like, is winning addicting? I mean, coming from a guy who wins a lot, is winning addicting? And are you ever satisfied? Like, I would imagine that you're trying to always get that feeling, right? Like, I mean, that feeling. I mean, you've won 15 grand in a stock car. I mean, that feeling, I'm sure, is indescribable. And you're always like, if you could bottle it, I'm sure you would, right?
Man, winning's always man, it's just very enjoyable. You don't you take it when you can get it. I've felt like I've been on top before, man, and there for a year or two. I think it was 2021. I think I won pretty much every show there was, besides the King of the Hill that year. Man, I enjoyed it a lot. The next year we fell off, and couldn't shoot. We could run top five, but we just couldn't ever perform. I think I still won 13 races that year. It was nothing to complain about, but then I stepped out with a new car, Addy, in what was it, 2023 or 2024. I stepped out with her, and man, it was just a rocket. It all started back over again, and here we are again. I don't know if I got comfortable. We're getting called again. We're going back to work, man. It's a vicious cycle. It's one of the things you love to win, so you will. You'll spend all your time doing what it takes to win, pretty much. So here we are working nights, trying to get all this done before we leave out to go Thursday. That's what we're doing this for, man. I can't work on. We try to work 3 or 4 days a week and go racing. So we're gonna do what it takes.
Dalton, I got to ask you. Like, I don't think people understand the undertaking when we say you build your own cars. I mean, most people behind the scenes in racing, they really understand that. But as a race fan, like, what made you want to build your own cars, and how much of an undertaking is that for you when you plan to build it? Because it's not like you putting them out 3 of them a year. You know, you take the time to build it, and I know you build them correctly. So, what made you want to build your own cars, and how much of an undertaking really is that for your program?
Man, I've always been a hands-on guy. I like working on stuff. I've always liked building stuff. I had a little bit of a little bit of work with building bending tubing with building roll cages on side by sides, and then man, it was one of them things. It was either I could go out and buy a car, or I could buy some tubing, and we could figure this out. So that's pretty much what we did. I built myself a little throw together jig that held the car. Made sure it was square. We bought some tubing, made some mistakes, put it together, made some mistakes, and had to move a couple things, but it was we knew from then, man. It wasn't it didn't all turn out right away, perfect. It took me I think I spent a month on that car building it, but I worked on it every day. It was exciting. It was fun, and man, I built everything from the rear ends to the cars to the bodies to every nut and bolt to everything but the engines pretty much. Best takes care of me on them, man. He stepped in my program with me with the new car whenever I brought Addy out. Man, that's another phenomenal deal I got in my program. I just couldn't do it without a motor. But man, I take a lot of pride, and like I said, I could probably pay somebody. It's not one of them things, but it's a lot of pride. I take a lot of pride behind building everything myself. Man, it's just something I enjoy doing. Really enjoy doing.
Man, you got to appreciate it. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, man, you got to appreciate in the day and time we live in, where everybody just. I'm not saying that they don't know how to work on it or do stuff, but you buy your rear ends, you buy all this stuff. In the day and time we live in, it's just easier to buy instead of sit there and build it yourself. So I you really got to respect you for wanting to do that. And man, I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna ask you like nobody else is listening. That 27 car, dude, I had plenty of people message me when I was working the 30,000. Like, that 27 goes around there, that thing works. And what I mean by works is it has compliance. You go in the corner, it gets on the right front, you hit the gas, it tractions up. It never looks like it's in a bad spot. What makes that thing so fast? Like, I got to ask. Like, I mean, you just act like nobody's listening. Tell me. Try to help your boy Cortland out if I ever want to go back factory stock racing here. But man, that thing is just fast, dude. Like, and you drive the absolute snot out of it.
Man, it's just one of them things. Going back to building the cars myself, I have an idea of what I'm shooting for. I put the car together. Everybody knows how to tighten a car, free a car up. It's one of them things. You set the car up tight. You gotta go out there and drive the car aggressive. I'd race the car every weekend. It's I know if something's off from one weekend to the other. It's one of the things you got to race every way. Seat time. There's a lot of seat time. There's a lot of confidence when I get in that car. It's if I got a vibration in the heat race, we're over there searching. I can't stand a DNF. That's one of my worst fears is a DNF. I don't like part failure. I don't like cutting tires. I don't like wrecking. So man, it's a lot. There's a lot behind it to keep the car fast. So it's just a lot of work. So.
Man, we have several really good, car builders in our area, right? Like young CJ Howells, those Force chassis are fast. He's got Josh Martin in a car. Obviously, you build the DAF. You've got John Lita in a car. You've got several. I think you've only built 3 or 4 total cars. Like, you haven't built a ton of them, but there is several guys who've run really well in them, right? Craig used to be in one of your cars as well. And then there's Justin Whitehead, right, who puts out the smash quantity, these outlaw race cars. That's not something, obviously, right? You work like you're at work right now, but that's not something that ever really interests you, right? Just to build a mass quantity of cars. But I would imagine with guys like CJ and Justin and yourself, you take a lot of pride in yourself, just as CJ does, just as Justin does. All 3 of you guys and other car builders, man, y'all are pushing each other. And I don't think you guys realize it, how competitive y'all all are, even just indirectly, right? I'm sure you and Justin jab at each other and talk a little shit here and there. But, like, I'm sure that's got to be a lot of pride for you to take that, because you want to be the best, right? Even though you don't build, 40 or 50 cars a year, like, you want to be the best. And, damn it, you want to beat the 36J, and I'm sure you want to beat that 2 car too, right?
Oh yeah. It's man, CJ, it's proven, that he works his tail off to do what he does out there. And then Justin, he's everybody, was saying Justin was falling off, and I told him, it's keep saying that he's gonna surprise you. He's not gonna go home and sit down. He's enjoying racing right now. He's gonna go to work. And it's just like any of the three you named off of us. So we're gonna do the same thing.
What's your favorite thing about racing? Is it the friendships, the competition, the additional money that you can win? I mean, what is it about this sport that Dalton Faulkner loves?
Man, it's I travel to Louisiana because I have a lot of good friends over there. Y'all see me so much over there. Man, I enjoy the scenery. I enjoy the adrenaline rush. There's not much more you can do to get the adrenaline rush for. Yeah, I
That's
ride side by
opposite.
side. We take a vacation or two a year and go to Arkansas and go ride side by side. So that's my little vacation I go do with me and my dad, and then I usually do a vacation with my kids. So, but yeah, anyways, that's what we do there.
10-4. Hey, what's your favorite racetrack? Like, what's your favorite track to drive on? And before you answer, flip your light back on in the dome so I can see your pretty face a little bit better there. But
Man, we're
I don't
going
want to
down a
run
little
your battery
better.
out. Yeah, you're
Oh
good
yeah.
now, buddy. You're live and direct. That's Dalton Faulkner, the mayor of Cut
Heck
and Shoot,
yeah,
Texas, right here
there we
on
go.
Clark After Dark. What's your favorite racetrack around here, Dalton? Or I mean, not around. I mean, what's your favorite track, and what's a track that you would love to race on that you have not yet raced at?
Man, Boot Hill's got to be my favorite track to go to. It's got a lot to do with the racing surface. The promoters that run that track. Bubba and Rollo, and then just the fan. The racing family. I guess there is around there. So that's always my favorite track. Man, I've always wanted to go up to Iowa and kind of run them tracks around there. Marshalltown. Well, I can't. I'm not gonna be able to name them off the top of my head, but them tracks around there, I would like to go. That's my next check mark to check off my list is probably get an I stock or a IMCA modified and go race a couple times out of the year up there. So
I will add to you talking about how much work you put into your program and everything you do. For anybody that think the man's lying, at 3 a.m. on Saturday morning after the 2 heat races Friday, my boy Daff is out there grinding away, son. He works just as hard as anybody. Why do you just like to work late at night because it's cooler and you want to sleep in all day, or why do you work? Why do you work so late in the night?
man, pretty much. That's it does get hot out in the day right now, and it's something throughout the night. Well, I know if I need to work on something, I have time. It's not one of them things. We're not stressing and working the next day. It's one of the things. My car's ready usually on a Wednesday, Tuesday night. Even on a regular race night. It's I don't wait till the last minute. We get home on a Sunday, wash the cars, get them all cleaned up, and pretty much going. It's I enjoy it. It gives us something to do. You was over there hanging out with us. We come over there, do a little bit of bullshitting and hang out, and same time and doing a little work, enjoying
Doing a
ourselves,
little.
man.
Oh
So
yeah, my boy
yep,
had that gold disc. He had that gold disc out there grinding away on some tires at
easy
3 a.m.
now,
I love it. Oh, come
easy
on
now.
now.
Hey,
I don't know
We're gonna
what
get the
color it
views
was.
up on
I'm
this one.
colorblind. I'm colorblind. I don't know
Colorblind,
what
huh?
color it was. I
Yeah.
can't see.
Portland.
Uh
Hey, how about that heat race though? Like we were talking, you brought up the heat, so I thought it'd be a good time to bring that up. But how about that heat race you had with? That was probably one of the best heat races of the weekend. But I thought it was pretty neat. We heard after the fact you and Keaton Atkinson exchanged shirts. He got out of the car. He was fired up that he was racing door to door with one of the best in factory stocks. It was his Boot Hill debut for 30K, and he said he got out. Y'all exchanged shirts and exchanged hugs. He was fired up.
Dude, yeah, it was man, that's the first time I ever met Keaton. I've watched him on Race on Texas or Race On. Apologize, we'll get that right. Race On. Um, Boy, I've watched him though a couple times, and man, I know he was going to be a pretty good competitor. He didn't come out there to slouch to go buy him a car and show up for that 30 grand, 2 or 3 weeks before. So I knew he was going to be a competitor. Whenever we took off, I started last in that heat race. I knew I was going to get up there to him before he got away. We had a caution, so it was luckily drew me up there next to him. So man, it was a fun race though, man. I gave him everything I could there. I think I overdrove the car trying to get to him a little bit, but he knew better than that. He knew he was racing. So that was fun though.
While we're on the 30K, I might as well just ask you. And I know I'm sure you're proud. But what do you think of Little Hennigan's performance? I know you finished third, but 5K for third ain't too bad of a payday either, right? But man, what did you think of Little Hennigan's performance? And now in hindsight,
Well, dear, whenever he passed me, I didn't think too much about it, but that was badass. It was cool, man, to go back and watch him. Whenever he passed me, I tried to, I watched his line that he passed me on, and I said, that must be it. And man, from then on, it distracted me. I watched him drive away and pass Ricky, and I had the front row seat of it. That's pretty much what I remember. But dude, that's cool, man. It's a young generation. He's not much younger than I am. But I like seeing that, man. That's cool. That gets them kids boosted up to racing, man. I thought it was pretty cool. Of course, I'd have liked to take home the 30 grand, but I went home proud. Head held high, finishing third. It was you can't win them all. Like I said, I've learned that from over the years of racing multiple races.
Hey, isn't that why we do this though? Right? Like, I mean, Dalton
Exactly.
Faulkner coming into the weekend, right? 36J, 27, the 2 car, right? Y'all are the proverbial favorites to win this race. And to watch Dustin, right? Dustin's won one factory stock race in his career at Boot Hill, but isn't that why we
Yep.
show up, man? Like, to have just the heroic fashion. I mean, to come from the back and to win at your home track, right? Like, and all that pressure's on that young man's shoulders to deliver, right? But I mean, just in the grand scheme of things, coming from a fellow competitor, like that's what this shit's all about. Like, that was pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. And at the end of it, we were all out there chasing that 30 grand. None of us, had the 30 grand won. We were all chasing that, dude. And me, Justin, CJ, all the other drivers, we know that. We're out there chasing it. It's not nothing guaranteed by no means, man. This racing can have its highs and lows very, very quick.
But the best thing about racing is there's always next weekend, there's another race. And whenever we get through this weekend, that'll be old news. So as we look into this weekend, Dalton, 67 Speedway, do you think the wall all the way around 3 and 4 is going to change it up a little bit? And what's your favorite part about 67 Speedway?
Man, I think it was the first Mike Parker I won there. It didn't have no walls but the front straightaway, man, and I think that's cool when a track don't have no walls. It's just one of them things. You see a wall up there, it stops you from getting all the way up there on the edge. Now it's got a wall. I think the last time I was there, it had a wall until the exit, midway down the back straightaway. So now I've seen they put the wall all the way around it. It's uh I forget Tim Crowley over there. He's trying.
Yeah.
I've seen the videos of him. He's watered the track. He's been over there testing quite a few things. So I'm excited to go over there, man. It's Justin puts the race on. He does everything he can for us to put a good show on, man. I'm excited to actually go watch these Arkansas factory stocks, put on a show for 10 grand. I haven't never seen them actually pay that much money for an Arkansas factory stock, but I don't I don't keep up with them a whole lot other than what RaceON provides us. So it'll be cool. It'll be fun.
What what about 67 just fits you though? Because man, you show up there. I mean, like you said, you won there before. Like what about it fits you?
Oh man, it's one of them tracks. It's just you can pretty much get on the gas. You can drive a little aggressive. You got the room out there, and it's pretty high speed. It's like I said, you've got to stay on top of your toes on that track. It's pretty good speed straightaway. You get good speed going down the straightaway, tight corners. Like I say, it's an exciting place. The only thing I don't like of it is the drive. It takes me a little over 5 hours to get there. So
No doubt. Hey, what do you remember about last year's Mike Parker Memorial? Because I mean, it was a pretty exciting race, man. You ran down Chris Hennigan. I mean, you were ripping the lip, and then you threw that slider in 3 and 4. There may or may not have been contact. I don't know. It's crazy how fast time flies. It's already crazy. We're talking about that was a whole year ago. It doesn't feel like a whole year ago already, does it? But what do you remember about that race? You and Chris Hennigan had some post-race conversations, but and tell me a little bit about that. I mean, since that time, have you and Chris talked since then? Tell me a little bit about last year's race.
man, last year's race, I really remember having to. I think we had to run a B main and stuff in one of the heat races. I think I finished dead last. I started back there last, finished dead last, man. So I was actually struggling. I usually don't ask many questions. I was over there asking some guys some questions. What my car looked like. What's going on. I need to change this shock, and just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. So I checked it out, and we had to run a B main. And that's always my first goal is just to make the show. If we can qualify top four like the shows usually do, that's awesome. But having to get out of a B main, there's anything can happen. So that's that was the main deal. And then to the show, we we had a good car. It halfway through, I knew we had a good car, and Chris, I think, had a pretty good lead on us. And once I started running them down, I knew we had a dang good car. So man, we ended up. I think I pretty much pulled a slider on him. Didn't clear him completely, but man, I was off the gas. It was one of them things, you know. It was slight contact, and he didn't like it. It was maybe a little aggressive on their side, but I didn't think so. But that's, you know, hell, I was the one going home with 10 grand. You know, it's there's always two sides of the story. But Chris was upset with me that night. It was one of them things. I don't think Chris has ever won a crown jewel factory stock race, and anybody gets past like that, it's probably not the best situation for him. But he's talked to me since then, man. It's I don't. I think we're pretty much over it. Heather, she's not over it. She gives me heck every time she sees me, but there's no
Yes,
bad
she
terms,
does.
I don't think. But she'll remind me every time I see her. But you know, I just walk up, give her a hug, hit her with kindness, and there's not much she can do about it. So
I'm gonna put a little
so
respect on Chris. He come from 16th in the 16 car. He was driving for Tommy Mercer. He won that first 20K at Chatham in the factory stock, and then you won
that's what it
15 at
was.
Chatham. Yeah.
I think his was 15 too. I think he won
Oh, okay. Sorry.
15,000, and then I won the second one, and also Lee Patton won one of the 7,500s
Mhm.
over there, I think. So had
Sure did.
both of the Tommy Mercers. Yeah, forgot he
Well,
did win that big race. So
well,
yep.
we're flying by
And
the seat of our
I
pants
started
here.
right behind him. Well, yep, I started right behind him at Chatham, and boy, he took off, and that was another one. I said, "How's he doing that?" You know. So
Hey, if I were to give you the floor, Cortland mentioned this a little bit earlier. Like, hey, this is just me and you talking. Now I know that people are going to hear this, but who do you just absolutely, when you look at the lineup board, and maybe you're not going to say it, but maybe you could make up your own name for them. Who do you just absolutely hate racing around? Like, it's not that maybe they don't have respect. Maybe they don't have any racecraft. They're out of control, or maybe I'm just going a little too far on this. Who do you not? Who do you just not like racing around, and who do you love racing around? Who's a guy that you know is going to respect you and your equipment, and you ain't got to give them an inch because they're not going to give you one either, but you probably ain't still going to touch.
man, it's kind of hard. There's not many people I don't like racing around. The two to come to mind, you know, right away is probably one of my two great friends, which is Craig Persley and John Lita. You know, it's one of them things racing around them. I think they want to beat me just as much as I want to beat them, and you know, contact comes into feud. You know, it's it's never a good thing. John, he's you know, we don't ever get in feud, but he's almost took me out a couple times by spinning out just being around the man. But we'll get off of that. Craig, you know, Craig, he's very aggressive now. Craig's got some speed built up. Craig's very aggressive like I am. He's I'll say it, he's been watching me for a while. He knows how aggressive I'm gonna be. He knows where I'm gonna run and so forth. So
Craig said that he wanted to win the 10 grand because you haven't won it yet. He wanted to win the King of the Hill more than the 30K because he knows that you ain't won the King of the Hill yet. What kind of
I
friend?
know. I watched it. I heard him on there, so but yeah, it's and I mean that's something cool. That's how much pride. That's how much he wants to win this racing. You know, man. That's what gives him that extra kick to go out there and do good. It is. You know, don't take me out. That's you know, but it is what it is. So I would like, and I like seeing my friends win just as much as if I can't win it. You know, it's I like to see anybody, but man, in the lineup, it's actually like these heat races, we go off passing points now. You know, I actually want to see Justin Whitehead, CJ Howe, you know, the top guys. Craig, you know, Craig's one of our top runners now. You know, Ricky Ingles, Josh Daugherty. You know, I like to see them guys in my heat race because it's one of them things I know if you know if they can't win it, I can. Well, that gives me the points. I've automatically beat them. You know,
Yeah.
it's I like to race with the top guys, you know, and then there's not nobody in our class that's just dirty or out of control really, man. It's track conditions can change it, you know, and stuff happens. It's dirt track racing, but you know, there's really nobody that's just out of control out there that I don't enjoy racing around.
So you mentioned how you want to go to Iowa and race modifieds and stock cars. Are you ever going to leave the factory stock, or are you just like you said, you're going to get the modified stock car just to piddle with a week or two here, or do you want to? I say progress. You know, like you said, you like to race for a living. Is that actually what you want to do, or do you want to be a family guy and stay at home working HVAC and then just race the big factory stock shows? Because you've done a pretty good job at it so far.
Man, I'm gonna be the family guy that's gonna answer you, and I'm gonna be the racing guy that answers you. I want to
Right.
race, full time. I really do. I would love to get me an IMCA stock car, modified, go race, pick a couple times out of the year, leave for 2 weeks, go race, and then keep the factory stock for the shows, which there's one every other weekend right now. So it's hard to not have one. The family side of me, I have 3 kids. I have a 9-year-old, a 3-year-old, and I have a infant, a 5-month-old. Like any father will say, you're now it's your kid's an infant, you don't really remember the 9-year-old growing up, so it's one of them things, the kids ain't gonna be that young forever, so I might have to slow down on my racing, and that's why I say get me an IMCA stock car or a modified. I could pick 2 or 3 times out of the year to go for a week or two, instead of racing every weekend. So there's my
Absolutely, man.
2 answers on that.
There you go. I
Yeah.
like it.
Well, I'm glad he asked you because I was going to ask something similar, right? Like there's a lot of guys, right, that we've seen have a ton of talent in different divisions around the Arcletex over the years, and maybe they just don't necessarily have I know they have the drive, they've got the talent, they got the pride and everything else to do it and do it well. Maybe just don't have the opportunities, of course, and them old greenbacks, man. This sport is very, very expensive.
Exactly.
Sometimes just getting those kind of opportunities afforded to you to be able to show you, what you can do. 2025 is not. Obviously, it's not 1978 anymore. It's not 1985. The times are just so much different in racing now. Where if you want to make a name for yourself, man, you better have a good hard-earned dollar and a lot of people backing you to get where you're trying to go. Now, I mean, obviously, you still got to have some talent to get to where you're trying to go as well. But it's just that much harder now. I feel like to make a name for yourself in racing. So, you know what, man? A lot of people around Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas, or anybody that pays attention to the RaceON platform or they pay attention to USRE factory stock racing, they know the number 27 car is lethal every time he shows up, man. And that's something you definitely should take a lot of pride in your racing program because I remember when we first met, 7, 8, 9 years ago, and you first started coming around here, Dalton, your goal, and you talked about it all throughout this podcast tonight, was that you wanted to beat the 36J and you wanted to be considered. You wanted guys like me to be talking about you as considered one of the elites in this class, man. And I have to tell you, man, you've knocked that shit out of the park. And man, what you've wanted to accomplish, you have accomplished tenfold, man. You should be so damn proud of what you've accomplished in this class, man, and take a ton of pride in it, dude. Because I'm telling you, I tell people all the time, like, you guys may not be familiar with our style of stock car racing, but I love our style of stock car racing, and I'll go to bat for it any day of the week
Yep.
because guys like you, guys like CJ, guys like Justin, and all other 137 drivers that were in the pits at Boot Hill making that 30K what it was, dude. We have something really great going on around here. And again, like I said, and I'm not trying to kiss your ass, but really, it is truly guys like you, Dalton, who have paved the way. And for anybody else, like, you can make something out of yourself. Man, you can race for a lot of money right here in the Arcletex this year, man. This RaceON All-Star invitation, or it's not an invitation, but this RaceON All-Star Challenge deal, like, I think it's great because, I mean, what it's doing in my eyes, Dalton Faulkner's chasing all these races anyway, right? He runs all of these events no matter what. Like, there's not a racetrack you haven't hit in the last 8 years if it's in the great state of Texas or in this general area. If it's paying $3,000 or more, the 27's rolling through your pits, and he's more than likely rolling through Victory Lane. But man, it's just it's really cool for me to see guys like you and all the other guys too, right? That can race for this additional money on top of the money that you're racing for. I just think it's great, and I think it's about time that guys like you got rewarded for your efforts.
Yeah, I think it's a very cool deal, man. It's one of them things, you have a couple nights that don't pay off, if you're in the top, I think 5, man, it's gonna pay you something. So, or top 10, I know top 10 pays out, but
Yeah.
it's well worth it in the top 5.
Yeah, man, we're just about to wrap this thing up here. I'm just curious. So tonight you get off of work, like, is the car already prepared in the shop, or like, do you have anybody helping you? Like, any of your buddies back there getting it ready to go, or when you get off work and when do you go prepare and get the car ready and get it loaded up the head, and when do you leave for 67?
Man, it's actually sitting on the lift right now, ready to rock and roll. I think I pretty much got loaded in the trailer, hook up to the motorhome, and roll out. I've got Clayton up here working with me. He works with me pretty much full time, doing this stuff. He runs around the racetrack with me and helps him whenever he can when they're around the shop at the house. So, man, we've actually we're up here in Killeen working at this Chick-fil-A. So when we get done tonight, we're gonna go to our Airbnb and show back up tomorrow, finish up, and head back home, which is about 3.5 hour drive, and then oh man, actually the schedule don't look good right now, so I think we got to work Thursday morning. So go put an air conditioner in. So got to make the calls, got to make it happen, man. Like I said, you got to have what it takes to run this stuff. We got to show up to every racetrack for that show this year. So for the points, so we got to go to work.
No doubt. Cortland, you have anything additional you'd like to add here, or?
No, just to kind of add on what you said, and this ain't the kiss Dalton Faulkner's tail segment, but like you said, I mean, just Dalton. I mean, like guys like him that travel everywhere and support these big events. That's why guys are able and tracks are able to keep doing this, is because there is a group of about 40 guys that you can count, that you can guarantee these 40 guys, no matter if it's a 5-hour drive or 6-hour drive, they're going to show up and show out. So Daff, guys like you, man, and the other guys, y'all know who y'all are, who show up and show out. We can see my race pass in the entries. We know who y'all are, man. Thank y'all. We know y'all work 8 to 5, just like you said. You changing schedules, got to go make money before you go spend your money. So guys like you and everybody, man, thank y'all.
Yep, there he is, folks.
Appreciate y'all.
Hey, man, thanks a lot tonight, Dalton. Man, that's the mayor of Cut and Shoot, Texas, right here. That's just a stone's toss away from where is that next to? Katy, Texas, or no? What am I thinking about?
Cleveland. I mean, we're in between Cleveland and Conroe. Yeah. Cleveland and Conroe, Texas. So a little bit. Yep.
Yeah. So
yes, sir.
There he is, folks. He's gonna ride away into the Cut and Shoot Texas night. Thanks a lot tonight, Dalton Faulkner, man. Great interview, great guest as always, and best of luck to him this weekend. You can you just sign out on yourself over there. You just sign out yourself. It'll get you out of there. And thanks a lot, buddy.
All right, dude.
There he is.
See y'all this weekend, dude. Later.
See you this weekend.
We'll see him in Mandeville, Arkansas, the Texarkana 67 Speedway, man. I didn't know if we were going to get him off the air there. I was trying to help my boy. I don't want to be awkward and say, you got to get out of here right now. No, but anyway, he figured it out. Hey, man, real quick before we get out of here, I know you're a big late model guy. I'm a big late model guy. I'd be remiss if we didn't at least mention the UMP Summer Nationals. The Hell Tour kicked off this past week. Had one rain out in the last 5 or 6 days, and I think they may have needed that one. Man, some really good racing. My boy Chris Steppins on the call, best announcer in the business. My opinion. Sorry, that's just don't at me. He's a joy to listen to. And tonight they're at Davenport. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the hell out of here pretty soon after you tell us a little bit what's been going on. Fager got the week 1 title. What are some other notes or any plugs or anything that you've noticed on the Summer Nats this week?
Oh, man, like you said, they grinded it out. They had that one rain out at Tri-City, and they probably needed it, dude, because I'm telling you, you get out there on that road and you just groove up and down. Like rain out every 4 days ain't going to hurt nobody. And I know the tracks that have them scheduled that plan their year around it, it's tough whenever it does happen, but I think they're going to reschedule it for later. I think it's just postponed, but good for them. But, man, Fager got the week 1 points. He got 2 wins. Troutman got 2 wins so far as we record this right now, so, and then Squirrel been running really good, which, I mean, when you show up to them Illinois tracks, man, I don't think people put enough. We talk, or you hear it on the national scene. Illinois, the home state of late models, essentially. The Illinois boys. But man, when you got programs like they do, like Fairbury and Farmer City, and all those tracks that can run weekly, those guys can get up there and race a bunch. So when you roll into that Summer Nationals, even the local guys, man, they're tough. Like a Mike Harrison, Bab. There's so many names that come from Illinois, and that's just because their weekly scene is so good because they can go race for $2, $3, $5 every single night. Or every single weekend, Friday, Saturday. So, Fager, Troutman, Squirrel. Troutman's really showing his speed that he's shown all year. Got his first late model win of the year. So shout out to him. And it's tough to roll in there and beat guys like that whenever they've raced there so much.
Man, I just love that the Hell Tour is still going. It has stood the test of time. There's been a lot of moments I think over the last 10 years where this operation could have folded shop, right? And Sam Driggers, the UMP gang, they continue to keep trucking, and man, it's really a great tour. Like, they have a really good car counts this week too, right? Even tonight, like Ryan Gustin's there's a lot of World of Outlaws guys and a pick or choose of some Lucas guys that are there, and that's what I think is so fun about the Summer Nationals is the eclectic field of competitors that you really never know. Like night number 1, Billy Moyer Sr. won his 101st, and retied Shannon Babb, for the most all time on the Hell Tour. I just think that's really cool, man, because you never know if like Timothy Culp or Dylan McCowan and that Adam 75 is going to start on the front row alongside Fager or Shirley, and one night it might be gusting. You know what I mean? You just never really know. And I think that's what's so fun about the hill tour is the unpredictability of it.
You talk about unpredictability. I think Christian Hanger blew up a motor last night. I may be wrong, but he blew up a motor last night, and then he won his heat race tonight at Davenport. Yeah, like it's stuff like that, and that's what's great. You know, it's a grind, it's a gruel. You got to be I mean, when I say be prepared, I'm not just talking about the car. You got to have the trailer decked out, ready to go run 14 nights. Like this ain't you're coming back home and can find parts. Like you're just worried about trying to survive. You can't go looking for stuff. So you got to have everything ready when you go. But you know, just like you said, for stuff like that, you get to race. You just go race. And like if you have a bad night, blow a motor up, go out there, set a good lap and qualify and go win your heat race and go try to win the feature. You know what I mean? Like that's also the good part about it. And you talk about guys just popping in. You know, all these guys they raced so much there. They had that Illinois Speed Week and different stuff, and then had a couple rainouts. So guys like Jake Tim, Brent Larson, these mix of outlaw guys. And I think I've seen Dotson put on social media that he's headed to the Hell Tour races tomorrow night. So you're gonna start getting these mix of outlaw guys that are going to tie in for this weekend when they're co-sanctioned with the outlaw. So it's going to be some really good fields, and it helps these guys race, man. They're the outlaw guys are already going to load up and head to I-55, so they might as well go ahead and race 2 nights before then, you know.
No doubt. And another thing I want to mention, obviously, the 410, the World of Outlaws were at Knoxville this past weekend. And I think that there was starting to be a debate or conversation going on in the country who is the best sprint car driver in the country right now as far as power rankings. And everybody's like, man, Rico's getting real hot. Rico Abird's getting real hot. And he still is hot. He's pretty good right now. I think he had 8 wins in his last 16 starts. That's pretty good. But David Gravel, Friday night at Knoxville, proved that he's still the baddest man on the planet with a 410 cubic inch power plant underneath the hood. I'm telling you right now, 8th to the win. That's the deepest anybody's came to win a 410 sprint car feature this year on a national tour. 8th to the win, and he only did it in 25 laps time. I mean, I was sitting there before the race thinking to myself, Cortland, like, man, I wish this race was 30 laps. But when it was over, you know, the only thing that you want as a race fan is like, did the fastest car win the race? Well, there's no doubt. Like, the race could be 18 laps for all we care, as long as the fastest car had an opportunity to get to where he's trying to go to win the race. And David Gravel got to the front. He won the race. I'm trying to remember who won Saturday night. He bounced back, but he drove
Corey
the second
Day,
Saturday.
Yeah, Corey Day won Saturday, and Gravel won second. Yeah.
Dude, he ran Corey Day down from like 2.6 seconds down. Dude, ran him down and like made it a possibility in 3 and 4 coming to the checkers, dude. Like that, I love Knoxville Raceway. Like what an elite establishment, and I love sprint cars more than I ever have in my life, dude. That was some good stuff this weekend.
Knoxville, like you said, David Gravel, fastest car in the country in sprint car racing. If you want to argue it, like there's no argument after this past weekend. The dude flat out drove it. And you mentioned Knoxville, dude, that place is so technical. Like when you watch it, and they do such a good job of track prep, man. Like that place has got it dialed. And I know I use that term very loosely, but man, they got it dialed. There's always a cushion. There's always a strip, a little streak around the infield berm that you can get your left sides in and leave low. And man, in that middle, it's so streaky traction that if you don't hit your mark, you are just hung. And if you go back and watch your races, you can see when a guy misses the bottom and gets in that slick, he is passed on both sides. It takes forever to recoup. So it just really, it tells you just how it's got to be the best car, and you got to be the best driver on that night to get it done, just because of how technical that place is. And, you know, for David Gravel to come from 8th, it's not like that place is really easy to pass, because they get gapped out real quick, and it takes you several laps to pass a car, you know. I mean, of course, when you get a big run, you can drive right by them, but for the way Gravel come through the field on that Friday and then Saturday as well, and to get up to Corey Day like he did, dude, like it's impressive to watch. It's really cool. It puts some respect on it at Knoxville. No doubt.
You know how we've talked about how corner speed has just, I mean, corner speed is just so much faster than it's ever been in dirt track racing, with all of the technological advances with the shocks and all that, and the springs and all that different stuff now. Doesn't it just blow your, maybe it doesn't blow your mind, but isn't it just, it can be mind-blowing just to watch how fast sprint cars are going through the corners. Like, dude, they're not even burping the throttle, especially on a hammer-down track. Like, I remember watching races from Knoxville 20 years ago on TNN, or 25 years ago, and when cars would dive into the corner, like, let's just say how David Gravel was running the bottom the other night, they would dive their car into the bottom, but it wouldn't stick the way it sticks now. They're going to slide up through that middle, and more than likely go up to the top, put that big right rear Hoosier up on the cushion, and get the drive off. Now, they're just driving it into the bottom, and the car is staying planted all the way through the corner, and they're not even burping the throttle anymore, dude. That's how hooked up we are in 2025.
That's technology has advanced us to that. Like we can put so much grip. I said grips, so much grip into these race cars. Like, I mean, everything is so stuck, like even whether it's sprint cars and late models. I mean, when you look and then you go through time trials, there may be one guy that might jump up a tenth faster than everybody else, but everybody else is sitting there with, 20 guys could be within a tenth. Everybody's just so stuck. And that's what makes the racing that much more exciting, is because a David Gravel can go off in there. Corey Day's been ripping the top, and David Gravel can just run it wide open and send it on the bottom. And as long as he hits it just right, it'll stay there and he will rip right around there.
It is wild to think about. You're trying to get every little bit out of your car, and this could be mods, late models, anything. But the majority of most of these National Touring Series events, they're separated by 3/10 from the very top all the way down to like 30th place. It's pretty wild, and that's what technology has also done to racing. It's made everybody pretty close to one another. That's one thing. Like, there's not a big separation or big discrepancy between, like it's made not so kind of talented. Anyway, we're not. We digress. I knew you'd love that kind of jump. Kind of dive into the nuts and bolts of the racing and how they get through the corners. But didn't plan on that. But here we are. Hey, the final thing I want to mention here, bud. I made a Facebook post about this the other day. No, didn't plan on talking about it on the podcast, but I am. Seat 11A. Okay, Seat 11A. India Air Flight crashed. Obviously.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was wondering.
Anybody from India, and no, I didn't plan on talking about this on the podcast. The only reason why I am is because it was Seat 11A, and everybody's been making this big deal about how lucky Seat 11A was. Well, when I see 11A, I think of Ronnie Adams. I think of the king, Ronnie Adams, and driving for Ricky Jowers. Of course, Mike Palacini Jr. Is driving that car now. But man, I had a very hard time wrapping my head around this thing, man. 242 people die on board, and you live to tell the story. Like, I believe in a higher power, obviously. I don't know what that gentleman's walk is like daily. I just know that he's still on planet Earth, and everybody else that he was on that same plane with is gone. And I had a hard time wrapping my head around, like, the fact that this gentleman survived a plane crash. You don't even have to add anything to this. Like,
I don't know what to like. I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm just thinking, if I was that dude, like I'm gonna do my James Essex. I don't know. Like,
no, dude. But so anyway, I got to reading a little bit more, and you never know. Everything on the internet's true. You read, right? Everything you read is true. But I read another story about another flight that had went down in the 80s. And there was a gentleman who told the story. I mean, it was a pretty descriptive story. Who knows? I could have wrote it. You know what I'm saying? But it said that this man was also on Seat 11A, and he was the only survivor on that. And I was like, oh, what are the odds? But anyway, so Seat 11A, I've been seeing a lot of people talk about 11A this, 11A that. But hey, all I can tell you is I know who the king of Boot Hill was, and the last time he raced a race car was the number 11A. That's Ronnie Adams, baby, out of Diana, Texas. Come on back. But hey, rest in peace to all those people. I mean, it's tragic. It doesn't matter if it's in Indiana or India or Mexico. I don't care. Lives lost. That's tragic, especially that mass amount. I'm not talking about it here on this podcast to make light of it. I just think it's absolutely mind-boggling and mind-blowing to think that many people could perish like that and one person could survive. That's a God thing. I don't care what you folks believe in. That's the Holy Spirit. That's something out of our power and our being, but that man is alive to tell the story, and that is a blessing. And man, I hope that his family's hugged his neck, and I don't know what else to say, Cortland. That's all I got. Do you have anything else you'd like to add on this podcast tonight?
Get out to a racetrack this weekend, folks. 67 Speedway, Mike Parker Memorial. We got Rocket. Arklatex is racing Saturday, I believe. I think Manny's racing Friday night. I mean, plenty of racing actions. Plenty of racing action available if you're around the Arklatex. I don't know what Northeast between Rev or Chatham. I haven't seen what they're doing yet, but or I don't know exactly what they're doing yet. But I'm sure they got something going on over there. But plenty of racing action to go see, man. Go support a racetrack. I know it's hot. Nobody likes to get out there too early. As long as tracks start when they say they're going to start, just show up then, and that's all you got to do.
Well, man, I'm really excited about this event this weekend. I'm happy to have you joining me on the mic this weekend. I know you were scheduled to do some pit reporting, and unfortunately, some things, out of our hands and RaceOn's hands, that's not going to happen this weekend. But Justin still wanted you to part of the event, so we're going to get up there. We're going to co-announce the Mike Parker Memorial together for the first time. So excited about doing that, man. And I love this race. I've loved it all the way back to when it was the factory stock 50. Mike Parker and I were very good friends, so I've always loved and supported the fact that Justin renamed this event after his good friend Mike Parker. Of course, Justin has a 15 tattooed
15.
right here in his forearm. And so every time, he thinks of Mike, every time he looks at his arm every day. So that was truly one of his best friends. And it means a ton to him to continue to have this race in Mike's memory and his honor. So make sure we do a great job of that. Man, I'm very confident. I feel like the fans are going to show up and show out. They did for this race last year, and it was a barn burner. And I'm expecting a great turnout this weekend, expecting some great racing. Tim Crawley's going to have that baby juiced up. Laura Crawley's going to have the great hospitality for everybody. And Sam's going to be there as well. Hey, it's a great staff over there. We love 67. We can't wait to get there. Thanks to everybody that's hung out with us all the way here to the final whistle.
Yep.
On behalf of Cortland Smith, he's out of Alexandria, Louisiana. I'm Zach Clark. I'm out of Houghton. Be blessed and be a blessing. We'll see you here next Wednesday afternoon.
Holla, catch you later.